Hi, Lon. Thank you for having time for this interview. I'm very happy to meet you here online and get some ideas about your newest book, The Tarot Architect.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and I'm anxious to talk about it too.
Yeah, when I got into that book and read a little bit about that, I thought, wow, what an in-depth study of tarot, cabala, and related subjects. What did you inspire to write such a deep book?
Well, I guess the inspiration was I just figured it was time to do it while I while I'm still here. Uh, yeah, the time just seemed right for it, and I'm a really lazy guy. Okay, I I'm truly a lazy guy, and if I'm not pushed to to do something, I'm happy to do nothing. And it was something that my publisher uh, was pushing for me to do for several years, and uh, my life had been kind of interrupted when we were kind of in a sense forced to move from our home in Costa Mesa or Southern California and uh, find new less expensive place to live, and that sort of upset our life for a few years. We're not settled down yet, but we're up here in Sacramento, California, which is Northern California. It's even north of San Francisco. And I finally got settled in and had the opportunity to give a couple of years of my time to to writing the book. And I had uh, in the last, I guess it was about 10 or 12 years, um, I had gone to China a lot, mostly Beijing, but Shanghai and Hong Kong, Taipei, because they were interested in tarot. They were interested in tarot and they were interested in magic. And uh, that really challenged me. First of all, uh, whenever I speak in other countries where English isn't their first language, I'm I'm challenged to uh, to say the to deliver the most message in the simplest terms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because uh, uh, they don't pick up on the idioms, my slang, uh, the nuances of my humor and things like that. And I have to just cut to the chase as far as the language goes. So that forces me to condense and distill ideas into their most their purest, simplest form. And I got pretty good at it. Okay, to have a translator sitting there, and every sentence has to be translated. So I have to choose those sentences very well. And so I depended on slides,
Hmm.
visual images, and they sort of drove the narrative. And I realized how important um, a spiritual technology tarot
Hmm.
is. And it became clearer and clearer to me that that tarot and the basic Hermetic Kabbalah uh, that forms its structure uh, is as important to Western consciousness as say the Tao Te Ching is to Eastern mysticism. And so, uh, and so, so I did a couple of online seminars on teaching tarot from that point of view, and and of course I wrote two tarot books, which or two Kabbalah books that I'm very proud of. The Chicken Kabbalah, okay, and Son of Chicken Kabbalah, where I sort of teach. Uh, well, I tried those techniques out in China first of all, and they worked really good or really well. Uh, the I was teaching Kabbalah as an initiation process.
Mhm, mhm.
So I'm a Freemason, and I'm in magic organizations that teach by dramatic ritual. Okay, and so I thought, you could teach Kabbalah with a dramatic ritual way, immerse the candidate in a living Kabbalistic tableau.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Well, that there are the main character in, just like in a Masonic uh, initiation experience. And so I came back from China with a 3-degree Kabbalah initiation program.
Wow.
And I put it all, the scripts, the description, everything, in a book called Son of Chicken Kabbalah, and from the same publisher, and that caught on in a few places. I think Finland is one of them, but here in the United States, uh, people looked at this and said, "Wow, I could initiate 15 people, you know, into this. We could do it we could do it at a hotel, in a a banquet room. We could all get together for a weekend at a hotel and make this like almost a 24-hour immersive experience. And that went really well. They did it up here in Sacramento, and I came and was part of that. It was great fun. It was great fun. Not only that, but it was a self-transformational experience in the same way that a good, legitimate initiation should be.
Mhm.
And that was based on the Kabbalah and the how the universe was created according to the Kabbalistic way of looking at it by the Hebrew alphabet.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 3-degree ceremony,
Mhm.
the individuals had installed that 3-degree process by which the Kabbalists demonstrate how existence came into existence.
Wow.
Okay, and that is the essence, the true essence, the core essence of the environment that we think we live in. If, does that make sense? We look around, we sense that we exist, you know, and there is a constant underlying formula that's holding that together, that was is is responsible for its existence. And every monad of consciousness is the perfect reflection of that.
Hmm. Hmm.
We could use the analogy of that great formula is a musical note,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that musical note is coming from a giant tuning fork. Okay, which
Yeah.
which is the singularity of existence. Okay, and people could call that God if you want, but it's a
Hmm. Hmm.
singularity of existence. And that big tuning fork is vibrating and it's holding it all together. And each monad of consciousness, you and me, are little tiny miniature versions of that tuning fork. And
Hmm.
but we're all rusty. Our tuning,
Well, yeah, we are.
yeah, our tuning fork is uh, when it should be ringing perfectly clear in perfect sympathetic harmony with the big tuning fork. You can hardly hear us. We're so rusted over. And so the attuning yourself, becoming one with that vibration, uh, it knocks the rust off of our tuning fork. And what all of the sages uh, throughout time have been doing is knocking the rust off their tuning fork.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
is that is waking up. That is becoming one with God. Okay, that is entering in the presence of God. How whatever religious uh, you know, romantic way of putting it, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
And and to me, after years, and yeah, I've been studying tarot well over 50 years. Um,
Hmm.
and I love the art form. The tarot is the picture book, not only the picture book of that three-step Kabbalistic process. Uh, it is it utilizes the common denominator
Hmm.
of that entire frequency of consciousness from the big tuning
Hmm.
fork to us. And that in every tarot card has a musical note associated
Hmm.
with it. It has a color scale and which is broken into four color scales. And so much is going on
Hmm.
in a single tarot card. And you don't have to open a book and learn about it or anything else. Ultimately, you just have to have a well-constructed tarot deck, and it's the book of life. And you could be on a desert island
Yeah. Yeah.
with a tarot deck and get it all. And so I wanted to uh, transfer that wonderful 3-degree initiatory process whereby I taught Kabbalah
Hmm. Hmm.
and just transfer it over to say I'll teach tarot that
I
way.
see.
Okay.
Hmm.
And the thing that helped me the most early on in my tarot career, if we want to call it that, was I early on I took the BOTA, Builders of the Adytum, a correspondence course. Okay,
Oh, really?
you get a thing in the mail,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Like it was at that times.
yeah, and it's really good. It gives you basic Kabbalah and everything else, the genius behind it was Paul Foster Case. But it obliged you, just like the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn obliged you to make your own tarot deck.
Hmm.
To make,
Hmm.
and BOTA made it easy because I'm lazy and I'm not artistic at all or anything else. Uh, how I made a tarot deck, I'll never know. Um, but the BOTA obliged you to create your own tarot deck. In other words, even if you just use crayon and basic forms and you know what each card is and you're studying a few pages in a book about each card and what they represent and what the proper colors are and why the fool is holding a rose or stuff like that, and you spend at least 3 or 4 hours on a card, on
Hmm.
coloring a card. And without you knowing what's going on, you are implanting that
Ah.
card deep, deep in your psyche, in a place that you could never study yourself into.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and just by doing it, you don't even know it's gotten in there. And as you're
Hmm.
doing it, you go, well, with the greater arcana, and that's the letter Aleph, and Aleph means breath. And you're thinking all of this as you're just taking your kindergarten crayons and making that card. After a while, it turns into, at the minimum, a 78-hour meditation, whereby, at least on the subjective level, you've installed those cards.
Hmm.
But in that process, they just started with the Fool and went all the way to the end. And so that'd be the Hebrew alphabet from
I see.
Aleph to Tav.
Hmm.
But that's not how existence came into existence. Okay? Uh, Existence came into existence from a giant zero, and there's I don't know. Just recently, I saw this physics thing just on the news. It wasn't a big physics thing, but it was talking about how a black hole, everything goes into a black hole and nothing can escape the black hole after the event horizon. So it's a big zero that everything goes into. And they've been speculating for years, and they don't have, or they didn't have enough objective information about a certain thing. So they didn't know if it all went into a singularity or not.
Hmm.
Okay. But everybody says instinctually that, they were hoping it went into a singularity, and and I guess just recently they've calculated that, yeah, it does go into a singularity, and at that point they went on to say, and it most likely goes into an opposite where nothing can go in,
Hmm. So
and
like a white hole.
and it's a white hole.
Ah.
And it's also a zero. It's a
Hmm.
zero out of which it all comes. And that's the Fool card.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the zero of the Fool card. It's number zero. And at the other end of the Hebrew alphabet is another zero, and that's the Universe card, Saturn.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Saturn uh, has uh, in hermetics is seen as the singularity out of which everything returns. It's the zero into which everything returns after it's completely manifested.
Hmm.
So there's in the United States we have this uh, very corny practice at football games,
Oh
like
yeah. Oh yeah.
like high school football games, where the cheerleaders come out at the beginning of the game with a giant hoop, a big zero hoop, kind of paper hoop. And at the beginning of the game, the team comes out of the out of the locker room and bursts through that hoop and onto the gridiron. And that's like the Fool card.
I see. I see.
That's the zero out of which everything comes, and that's why the Fool is stepping out on a off a cliff. Okay, his adventure is going to be the entire tarot sequence. And after the game, when the game is over, the whistle is blown, the score is made, the game is over. There's nothing left to do. It's a completely manifested universe. This is all there is. They go back through the broken hoop and back into pure potentiality. I wanted to give that experience. Okay, I wanted to demonstrate how the tarot tells that story in the three Kabbalistic steps, how dimension in time and space is formed when that singularity, that Saturn, stretches up forward and back and right and left. Okay, those are the three mother letters of the Hebrew alphabet. That's the Fool card, the Hanged Man, and okay. And so you can get that and that what here, that up and down and right and left,
Ah,
and
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that forms that starts to form duality because down is opposite of one and left is opposite of right. And okay, so those three things bursting from a center thing, those three things create uh, seven, the
Hmm.
center and the six walls, and that expands infinitely. Okay, infinite expansion. Uh, like the old Kabbalists were trying to describe, okay, this is the Big Bang process. Okay, how
Yeah.
how do we wrap our meat brains around the Big Bang uh,
Mhm.
springing from a positionless point, and the Kabbalists do it. In my book, okay, I try to painlessly install that cosmic process by just having you color your own tarot cards in that same order, in that same sequence. Okay. So I've called it the tarot architect.
Hmm. Hmm.
In a sense, uh, what you're doing is, well, the subtitle is kind of corny, uh, how to be master builder of your spiritual temple. Well, that's exactly what it is. Sounds kind of corny, but uh, in a sense, you are recreating that in this simple tarot process of, and if you go along with it, if you play along with it, at the end of the the book, you've created your own tarot deck. And even if you don't do it, even if you just read the book uh, and go along with the meditations, because at each step, uh, I've offered uh, meditation processes that go along with the cards that you're working on.
You're talking about the sidebars?
The what?
the sidebars in the book with kissing the cards. That
Oh
impressed
yes. Oh
me
yeah.
very much.
Oh, you get into the cards, and and at
Yeah.
first you don't have to use my deck, or use whatever deck you have. Okay.
I tried to get your deck, but in Germany it's 478 euros.
Oh my God, just give me a plane ticket and I'll bring you over if you.
Well, give me some. I sell them. We just share.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty expensive, and it's almost um, yeah. We'll have to work on that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can use any tarot deck, and I encourage you to use any tarot deck. Um, but yes, as you work your way through these exercises, these meditations, these homework assignments, and things like that, um, yeah, every time you pick up the card, you kiss it, and it
Yeah,
makes
that's great.
yeah, yeah, you may seem like that's a stupid thing, and is anybody watching, but it does something very, very viscerally
Yeah.
important. And oh, and you can say every time your DNA goes into it too, and DNA is a very quantum kind of thing. Um, but that's the idea of the book. And I had run across the uh, I don't know if you can
Yeah, I see it.
okay.
Yeah.
I ran across I did the line drawings, okay, for these cards, and Constance, my wife, um, uh, using a color scale chart that I gave that, that I gave her. I said, don't use anything else but these colors in it. Um, Colored them in, and I found the blanks after years of being tucked away in some kind of drawer someplace, and I thought, wow, I'll give all 78 cards in this form, because the cards have all sorts of the other collateral information.
Yeah.
It-
That's so valuable.
yeah, and I even link the court cards up with their I Ching hexagrams and stuff,
That's
and
wonderful.
other magical things,
Yeah.
including the tattva symbols, where you can literally astrally project into the essence of the card, and Enochian and stuff, and so all of that information is very nice to have.
Yeah.
So if I provided, a blank set of 78 cards, and of course the book has links to a website where you can download the blank things, and really get fancy about it if you want, and then spend a couple hours doing it. And I encourage people, if you don't like this magic stuff that I've got on the cards, white it out, just blank it out, and put your own ideas. But here's are the ideas that are traditionally associated with this card. These are the colors that are vibrating to the frequency that that
I
card
see.
represents. This is the musical note that is
Mhm.
vibrating to the essence of what this card represents. And here's a here's a quick little exercise that you can
Mhm.
do, a meditation exercise. And just the visualization, um, matched with a simple breathing technique, okay, because lots of meditation, as you're visualizing, the singular, as you're visualizing this, you take a deep breath, and there goes Aleph, there goes the fool,
Mhm,
up
mhm,
and down. And
mhm.
you let your breath out, and then you got your next one, and okay, and it turns into something that you can just do second nature. And as you're doing it, you're knocking a little bit more rust off of your tuning fork.
I see.
So,
That's interesting, and I would like to get your opinion on what is magic for you. So you said you can leave magic aside. On the other hand, you're living, as far as my information goes, a magical life, and you do this because you think it's a great idea. So what's magic for you?
uh, well, I don't think of, I sort of see it all as being magical.
Ah, okay.
We're all magicians, all of us. We're either uh, applying our craft well, or, or we're fumbling around with it, but we're magicians nonetheless. And frankly, I don't think about it uh, that much. I have the same problems and hassles. I'm I have the same shortcomings and vices as anybody. Mosquitoes still bite me, uh, and I don't feel that I'm doing anything other than just a regular other human being is doing. But I try to, Crowley's definition of magic is it's the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with your will.
Hmm.
Uh, my personal magical uh, process is loosely based on the structure that Crowley set up in his AA, which is sort of uh, a modern take on the Golden Dawn initiatory uh, process. But I don't go around thinking, "Oh, am I a philosophist now?" Uh, I don't go around thinking about it. But there are two uh, landmark plateaus of consciousness in that system. And we see that uh, using that tree of life diagram as a roadmap. There's two plateaus of consciousness that pretty much every monad of existence uh, hits on its way to uh, uh, becoming the singular, completely identifying with the singularity. Okay. And that happens at the heart chakra area of our psychic body, or on the tree of life, Tifereth. And that plateau is uh, called, and it's kind of a horrible name, doesn't really, it's called the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel.
Wow.
Okay. And that is where you finally knocked enough rust off of your tuning fork to realize that you truly are the reflection of the singularity.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
you true when they say, "Oh, we're made in the image of God," yeah, that's where you actually go, "Yeah, I'm made in the image." Okay, the, the real, not that God has a beard and great,
Not?
uh,
Oh.
but what God is, I'm the perfect reflection of that. And when that light bulb goes off, you immediately know I am the center of the universe. This show is about me, okay? And me is it. And uh, that area happens to set up and trigger what I can only call a love feedback. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And you see it described, or you see it attempting to be described by holy people of every age and every religion and every philosophy. When they hit that, they instantly realize I'm the reflection of the singularity, and the nature of that, the force of that, the high of that is a feedback of love, that you have an intense, you're part of a circuitry that's intense love that you are giving out and receiving at the same time. It's,
Hmm.
can you see how it's that singularity of the
Yeah.
black hole and the white hole, the
Hmm.
giving and the receiving sets up a feedback, just like a microphone feedback. You know, it gets louder and louder and louder, and it's this wonderful love feedback. Okay, so
Wow.
so that's the first plateau,
Is
and
this related to the 1 and the 10, which you write about in the book?
oh God, yes. Oh yeah, that's why the princesses are the thrones of the aces and things like that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So yeah, I call those bookends of existence. And but anyway, it's easier just to start to deal with these concepts just by, oh, well, here's a little flashcard of that, and as you're doing it, you're installing it in yourself, and you're literally building your. It, it's doing exactly what the subtitle of the book is advertising, you know. So that's the idea, and I really didn't. Uh, I really didn't know uh, how well the book worked, and until got some of I showed it to Mary Greer, uh,
Hmm.
whose tarot knowledge and wisdom I tr really respect. Um, and I sent her the manuscript and sort of quaked in my boots, wait- waiting for waiting to see if it worked, and and she liked it. Okay, she writes the introduction to the book, but you know, I guess I could call myself a writer, but if I'm a writer, I'm a very reluctant uh, writer. Um, once I get in my writing chair, I go someplace else, and it's hard to snap me out of it. But it takes a lot to get me in that writing chair, and uh, but there's a few projects that I'm particular in my life, because I've been doing this since the 90 1990, I guess, um, that I'm particularly proud of. And one is the Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot.
Hmm. Hmm. Which
And
is quite work. Wow. Pooh. At least for me it is.
yeah, oh, of course, my favorite is one of my first books, My Life with the Spirits. That's got to be what,
Yeah, I laughed a lot. It's entertaining.
yeah. Uh, and the Chicken Kabbalah.
Hmm.
Uh, Very proud of that, and the process and the son of Chicken Kabbalah. And then there's this book, this Ed Wood, the movie director,
Yeah, sure.
voted the worst director in history. He had that movie called the Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is just horrible. Okay, it's a horrible movie, but he just loved it, and he loved making movies. And in the movie Ed Wood, Johnny Depp plays Ed Wood, and at the premiere of Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is they show a little bit, and he's sitting in the audience, and he's almost crying, and he says, "This is the one they're going to remember me by."
Well, I understand that.
and 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 that's what I tell people about the tarot architect. This is the one they're going to remember me by. So
Well, yeah, and I love your humor which you put into the books when you write about wisdom, and maybe that you could a little bit let us know why do you combine humor with wisdom so much? I love it very much. I
I
just don't find it much over the many books I read.
I can't help myself.
That's a great explanation.
That's the total truth.
Mhm.
Uh, when we first were chartered an OTO lodge, which we ran out of our house for the entire 40 some years we did it. Um, uh, I assumed, I wasn't told this, but I assumed it was part of my job as lodge master to hold a weekly class, a magic class. Well, we're talking 1978, 9. Okay.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so I was still in my 20s, and here I am. I've been given a lodge of OTO to create and to run. And so I I tried desperately to stay 1 week ahead of the class in my knowledge and my magical understanding of Crowley's teachings. And and after a while, uh, learning the pentagram ritual and the greater pentagram ritual and the hexagram, that gets old really fast, you know. And just learning it is just learning it. Why are you doing it is the big question.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And uh, I had to learn right along with the class what all the it was really a big workshop. Let's learn this together, kind of thing. And I had maybe one or two books more than everybody else in the class, you know. And after a while, we got into Enochian, and I thought,
Oh gosh.
we can spend maybe 4 weeks on this. It went into a 3 year thing. Uh, but th- I discovered that it was easier. Oh, and in that relaxed atmosphere, everybody joked around. Okay. And personally, I believe that wit is a divine
Yeah,
divine gift. Okay.
it is.
Okay. True wit. I think that singularity is very, very witty. Uh,
It must be.
yeah. And so, I traveled a lot for a number of years, and I always brought back foreign coins. And when somebody in the class became a contest of wit, and everybody respected. It was like having a room full of Oscar Wildes, you know. And uh, when somebody uh, said something incredibly witty, I would throw a foreign coin at them to reward them. But uh, I discovered that, especially with Kabbalah, Kabbalah is awesome. It's elegant. It's pure. It's clean, and it's so boring. Okay, the classic Kabbalistic stuff bores me. Okay, but I get what it's about. And
Hmm.
so every time we do a Kabbalah class, my teaching method got goofier and goofier and
Mm.
sillier and sillier, but they got it. Okay.
Maybe this is why they got it.
Yeah. And it was delivered with a like a silver bullet of humor. And I didn't set out to do it. I really meant it was I can't help myself. But but it was in this marvelous, relaxed atmosphere of my own living room. Okay, with you know classes, 20 people would be a big, big class. It's mostly a dozen people, and uh, it seemed that they got it, and I I was challenged at a talk that I was giving at the Bodhi Tree Bookstore, the old Bodhi Tree Bookstore in Hollywood. Every time a new book came out, I would give a speech there. And when my Tarot of Ceremonial Magic came out, I had to talk about the Kabbalah in the book, okay? And so I
Yeah.
had to talk about the Kabbalah at my speech. And uh, and I was using the same technique, the goofy technique of humor in my speech. Not that set out to do that. That's put me, get a microphone in front of me, and that's what I do. And every time I'd say Hebrew word, like
Hmm. Hmm.
kether, there's a guy in front, and I'd say kether, oh, and he'd go like that, and I'd say Tifereth, and he'd go like that. And I says, Bria, the world of soft cheeses, and he went, oh. And everybody else was laughing. Everybody else was getting it, but every time I pronounced a Hebrew letter or something like that, uh, and pronunciation really isn't for a magician. They call it Masonic Hebrew. It doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is what it is, its number and things like that. But anyway, this guy, and he was in a black suit with a white shirt, button. No, the guy was an Orthodox Jew. Okay,
Oh, really?
and with and the Hollywood area where the Bodhi tree was is populated by marvelous, charming Jewish uh, communities. Uh, Great delis. Oh God. Uh, but I could tell that this guy was, an organized Kabbalist, and I was really offending him right and left. And Afterwards, he stormed up and he was livid. And he says, "What you teach is not Kabbalah. Okay, you don't even say Kabbalah, right? It's Kabbalah. Okay." And uh, and he really was hot under the collar, and and he was so loud that people started to gather around, and uh, I wanted to tell him, it doesn't matter what the pronunciation is. Because literally there is no correct Hebrew pronunciation. There's correct dialects. Okay, there's wonderful dialects that are different, but there truly isn't any evidence that it was ever a spoken language at all. It's a liturgical language that they turned into Aramaic is basically kind of what it is. And then its tradition is taken over, and but for a Kabbalist, it doesn't matter. Okay, it really doesn't matter. Excuse me. You got a couple things, the guttural and things like that have significance. But I wanted to tell him, my rabbi says there is no correct Hebrew pronunciation. But I didn't have a rabbi that I could that I
Oh.
could that I could quote. And at the end of it, okay, he says, "What you teach is not Kabbalah. It is," and he was thinking of a word that was bad enough, that was dirty enough, that uh, described what I was teaching.
Hmm.
And he says, finally comes up with the word, "It is chicken, chicken Kabbalah." Okay. And everybody laughed and at that because it was obvious he was not thinking well. Uh, but that it was unclean, or not unclean, but at least you could eat it. Uh, and I thought right then, okay, I started to think for a moment like a magician. And I thought, this guy is an angel of God. Okay.
Hmm.
And he's just given me the name of the Kabbalah I teach.
Wow, what a story.
The angel of the Lord. Okay. And so I wrote the Chicken Kabbalah as Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford so I could quote myself.
That's a great way to do it.
So, and that, and all of that has been now applied to the tarot in the tarot
I
architect.
see. I see. What fascinates me a lot is this ritual with the card kissing. I think that just is a very good add-on to develop a heart connection to what the cards are symbolizing. Is this what your intention is?
Yes.
Approximately.
Oh, absolutely. And that
Mhm.
heart thing is that first plateau, the knowledge
Yeah, yeah.
is or in the Tifereth, as I incorrectly pronounce it.
Well, as long as it works.
Yes, that's the point.
So, are there things which you consider to be something you need to teach in person, which cannot be given by a book to the reader? So is there something where you need to be met for, let's say, live teaching in a webinar? You give a lot of teachings on your Facebook account, as far as I know.
Every day, 7 days a week. Uh,
7 days a week.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm going to do one just here almost as soon as we hang up. Uh, and I do it in the car when I take my wife shopping, and we do it together in the car. That's one good thing about cell phones and things like that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when the pandemic started, so what are we looking at? 4 years now. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's thousands. It's thousands of little, and they go about a half hour. Um, co Constance says it should be 15 minutes. You spend too much time. Yeah. Um, but whether in-person teaching or books or workshops is preferable. Uh, it depends on what what we both need, both the audience and me. First of all, I am never more off the top of my head spontaneously witty and wise when I have 9 hours to write one sentence.
I see.
And then I can use that sentence off the top of my, head. But I am not really good at being spontaneously uh, reactive to stuff. I can be spontaneous, like in intimate classroom uh, thing. But if I really want to get serious stuff across in the least amount of time with the maximum understandability and the maximum depth of meaning, I need to spend time and craft that sentence.
Hmm.
And the way I write, I have to trick myself into doing that. Uh, the reason why it takes me so long to write a book is because when I sit down I sit down to start my uh, day's writing, I have to read what I've written so far from the beginning.
Oh.
And so let's say I'm on page 50.
Hmm.
I sit down to write page 51. But before I do that, I have to start reading on page 1 and go all the way through. And I don't get 3 sentences, 3 paragraphs in before, no, I can say that better. Okay. So I repair that because it has to be music. It has to
Yeah.
flow like music in my own head. I don't know how it sounds to others, but in my own head, it has to go like that. And every time I hit a bump,
Hmm.
I have to take time and correct that bump. And people say, well, you should correct your grammar a little bit more, Yeah. Uh, yeah, okay. Hopefully, I have an editor. But so it takes me a long time, okay, to get to that point. And by the time the whole thing is through, I have to listen to it like a symphony.
Yeah, I see.
And so it takes me a long time, and that's what I mean by I never sound more spontaneous when I've had 9 hours to 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 craft that sentence. So
I see. I see. Wow. Um, is there an essential message of your book which you like to pass on to the readers?
Yeah, essentially is that you're the whole show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow, that's a big one.
yeah.
That's a
You're
big
the
one.
whole show, and the sooner you resign yourself to that truth, uh, the more satisfied you'll be with who you are, what you are, and uh, confidence in your own uh, the rightfulness of your existence.
Hmm. Did I understand you right that gravitation has a spiritual aim of creating singularity?
I didn't put it that way, but gravity is a more profound force than we recognize. Okay, Einstein was really Newton, Einstein, everybody. Uh, Gravity uh, is a pretty big thing. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I don't know if we could lump it all into that uh, as cleanly as you described it. But there's this big debate about particles and waves, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and the both of those might be a neither of those.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, and as long as we think about one or the other of anything, we've already fallen from the purity of the singularity.
I see. I see.
And when I talk about the tree of life and how everything is really just the number one, and that number one isn't even what we think it is. Okay, there's three kinds of nothing that the Kabbalists say, and that kind of lumps it up better. But even the two is just one trying to reflect itself, trying to become self-conscious. Okay, and when that reflection happens, it creates a third condition immediately. Okay, it's like a fall. It's a fall from the smoothness of the singularity to even reflect itself and go, oh, that's what I am, and then, oh, but I'm not it.
Hmm.
That's a third condition.
Hmm.
And so there's not even stuff yet. It hasn't broken into any kind of potential dimension or anything. It's just one up there thinking about itself. So
Hmm.
if anything, it's a Trinity unit. It's a singularity with three aspects. But even that's a fall. Okay, the real source is a smooth wall to wall. I
Hmm.
don't care what I am. Okay. Okay. I'm blissfully smooth. Okay. I don't even want to know what I am. I'm not even curious as to what I am. And when it was curious enough to want to know what it was already a fall. And that fall was the initial pre-echo of duality.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so if there was ever a fall of man or whatever said biblical wise, it wasn't any kind of fruit eating incident. Uh,
Not really.
yeah, it was when the singularity, when God wanted to become self-conscious. And so it's not something that happened in the past, is the
Ah.
the big idea. This isn't something that happened in the past. It's
Hmm.
happening right now.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the it's helpful for us down here in the brickyard of duality to think of it that way. Oh, it went sequentially. No, it's happening right now. And
Hmm.
it's our job to at least progressively continue to wake up a little closer to that realization.
And these are the 10 frequencies which you mention in your book?
Yes,
Okay, great. Great. Just to get things together, is this triad which you are referring to also Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Hour?
it's a more tangible reference.
Ah,
Okay, uh, it's like a reflection of
mhm,
Ein Sof and Ein Sof Or, of course. Uh,
mhm.
Only it'd be going backwards. Ein Sof Or goes into the one. Okay,
Ah, I see.
and yes, that sets the pattern. That's it. You
Hey,
know, yeah, we could say, if the Bible was really, if Genesis was really truthful, it would have just said, in the beginning, there was three,
hmm,
because that sets everything off, just like in our tarot cards, Aleph Mem Shin.
hmm,
In the beginning, there was three,
hmm, hmm.
and that three made the seven, and the seven made the 12.
I see. Hmm. That's interesting. Um, what do you think? Why should someone who is interested in tarot get your recent book, The Tarot Architect?
Um, First of all, to do a nice thing for me and my
Yeah,
family. Yeah.
that's number one.
So just as a show of respect.
That's a great argument. I love that idea.
Everything else will just be icing on the cake. Okay.
Wonderful.
Um, but they really don't. Tarot is a wonderful magical object art, and you don't need to know any of this Kabbalah stuff to love the tarot and to be a competent tarot reader.
Hmm.
You don't. As a matter of fact, from some tarot readers who are just gifted psychics in and of themselves, all of this stuff may get in the way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why do I need to know the why when I know? Why do I need to know the why of Beethoven's Ninth when I can just listen to it
Oh yeah.
and enjoy it? Um, uh, so you don't. But if you have a sense that this love of tarot that you have uh, is drawing you toward a self-transformational experience. If you think that tarot is an art form that uh, is important to your spiritual life, then this would be the process that you would use to literally say, okay, I'm going to be the tarot. Okay. That way, when I'm the tarot, the cards will just be an outward expression, uh, a symbol that I can use and share with others of myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the when I travel with two tarot decks, the Thoth deck because everybody wants to talk about the Thoth deck and my own deck. And
Sure.
because what kind of an advertisement would I be if I didn't use my own deck?
And there's a lot of interesting information on your tarot deck.
Oh yes, it's a magical tool. I can make my magic circle, hotel room, and I use it like a tool. It's a circle, a triangle. All the Goetic spirits are on it and stuff like that. And the entire Enochian elemental system is on it.
Hmm, hmm,
Uh,
hmm.
Not that I put it there, it's already there. It's already there on every tarot deck in the universe. All of that stuff is already there, just under the surface. Okay. But um, a lot of times I'll be in a situation where people would, uh, maybe people I'm staying with or something would like me to read their cards, and I don't have my decks on me. They're back in the hotel room or something. I'll use any tarot deck.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Got a Rider Waite. Most people have a Rider Waite. I'll use Rider Waite. Um, but like if their kids have the Halloween deck or the Alice in Wonderland deck, if it's 78 cards, and 22 trumps and the four suits, uh, I'll read the cards. They're just as sacred to me as my own deck or the Thoth deck or anything else
Hmm.
because the tarot's in me.
I see. That's important.
And and the tarot got into me pretty much through osmosis because I'm so lazy. Okay. After 50 years, okay, it gets in you. And the tarot architect is, hey, get it in you really, really fast, really enjoyable, really, really fun. Okay. Don't wait 50 years for the osmosis to happen. Willfully install it in yourself, build it in yourself.
I see. I see. Okay, one last question. In which way did tarot influence your life? Is there something specific which you can tell about that?
Uh, well, it's sort of been given me a language, first of all, to at least begin the process of understanding myself.
Ah,
Uh, uh, you know, I teach to find out what I know.
hmm,
Okay. And one of the opening lines is the book is you don't learn the tarot teaches you. And,
hmm, hmm.
and uh, that holds over to everything else in my life,
Hmm.
not just tarot or Kabbalah or magic or anything else. Um, it's that my function, and this might not be everybody's function, my function when I'm really in tune with myself is to not wait to get, but start off by giving.
Hmm, hmm.
And uh, and with teaching, it's funny. I didn't want to be a teacher, but it seems I've turned out that way.
Well,
But just like at that Monday night class, I teach to find out what I know
hmm, hmm.
because we're already it. We already know it all. Okay. We just haven't been confronted with the right questions.
I see.
And the tarot helps me do that. When I read tarot cards for people, I'll spend the first 20 minutes, half hour, just talking with them and they have a question, okay, and then I ask them, well, why do you want that to happen?
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm,
well, because of this. Well, why do you want that to happen?
mhm, mhm.
Because of this and this. Oh, so that's what you're really asking.
Ah,
Okay. And and they'll say, yeah, because if I knew that, that would answer this and this and this and this and this. And I said,
mhm, mhm.
okay, there we found the question.
Great.
So, um,
Oh, wonderful.
Tara's been
Hey,
good.
I'm hoping that lots of our audience will get that book because I think it's really valuable, and I'm happy that you wrote it.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy that you're happy that I wrote it.
Okay, Lon, thank you for your time and your very interesting talk. And I hope that we will have another interview about you being a Freemason and talking about Freemasonry in a few weeks.
Okay, very good. I'd like to do that.
Thank you, Lon, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.